Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the show, French Vinyl Addict, once again for another live stream, a very special live stream. Today, I have the pleasure to have me on the show, Mr. Rolf from a very legendary record seller from the Netherlands. Rolf from the Good Times, is that the store you call?
Yes, good times.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm good. Today was record store day, so
yeah,
it's actually all around the world
yeah.
on this day.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they were an event like a warehouse sales in Montreal. I didn't have a chance to go, but yeah, we will be addressing several subjects today. First of all, Den Bosch last week, so already covered by my friends of the German vinyl community, Michael 45 and Nadine. They already done a video about their feedbacks, and we will also dedicate a large portion of the today's stream to your experience. You've been like 200 times, I think, in South America, Bogota, Lima, Caracas. It's pretty amazing your resume. So we will be talking about that. But first, I will wait that some people will. Oh, hi Zeb. So can you see the comment?
Yeah,
Yeah, some people will be like commenting in the chat,
yeah.
and then I will be highlighting. So don't hesitate, you guys, anytime to ask questions, to react to what we are talking about. So yeah, we were be discussing just before be online, be on air when we were off. The amazing encounter you made when you were in South America. Why did it all start? Because of that guy in Austria. Can you tell me? Can you tell us a bit more?
The name is Hans Pokora. Many people know him. He wrote books. He started actually the first book is only with Beatles, Rolling Stones, Manfred Mann, popular English bands, and he gifted with black rounds how valuable it was, and
Mhm.
six was very valuable. And I took the book. I went with the book to South America, and I said, "You have these Beatles?" Yes, we have. Okay. Then I bought 20, and when I came back to Europe, everybody said, I want." So I discovered actually that yeah, people want different pressings, different pressings. The more and the more they have, and first I only bought Rolling Stones, Bee Gees, Donna Summer, um, what else? But people give me lists with incredible names, which are nowadays well known, like Black Sugar. You know Black
Mhm.
Sugar?
Never heard.
Oh wow, it's from Peru. It's a funk band.
Okay.
Incredible. Two records.
Okay.
And when you hear the first song, Too Late, you say at once, wow, what a song. And many people, when they hear it, they say, I want to have this record. So, uh, in and why South America? I started actually in Mexico.
Yep.
Mexico is, but then I heard there is another country with records, and that's South America. But I did everything little by little, and yes, every 6 weeks I went to or Mexico and or South America, and that started. Yeah, it was an incredible time.
Yeah.
And every time I discovered something else, people came to me and you said maybe you can find this. But the funny thing is, sometimes you can find it only once because the South American collector has it here somewhere. So he takes it out and he said, yes, I have it. But that's at once the last one. So
Yeah.
some records, you get them only once.
Yeah. And it's interesting at the beginning. I think people they were into the Beatles or the Stones. It's because of this in South America. The title of the tracks they were translated in Spanish.
Yes?
Yeah, you had this special cover. So, and how about the sound quality? I'm interested to know. I will ask maybe 1,000 questions today, but the
No
sound
problem.
quality. Uh, in Europe, you know, UK, France, Germany, you can
No, this
compare this.
was like
Yeah.
the black sugars.
Hi, Mike.
I brought them to Europe in the 95, 96, and people looked at it and they hear it one moment, but they said, "Wow, do they have funk in South America?" And later on, when I get well known, because Hans Pokora and me, Hans Pokora made the books, and I bought the records,
Who
and
is
I
Hans Pokora
brought
for, for people in North America who doesn't know, especially who is this guy, Hans Pokora? Can you
Hans Pokora.
highlight?
He's
Yeah.
It's funny. He's very famous in Europe.
Hmm.
He was actually a clothing seller, and he had a hobby: records, music, and he wanted to know everything about garage rock, punk, wave, especially psych. And yeah, little by little, we knew each other. And he offered me money if we can find this and I can find that. So I started every trip. I learned more and more and more. And also, customers from me give me lists with salsa or boogaloo.
Yep.
So I came actually in a world I didn't know. And the funny thing was, if I gave the list and I came 3 months later, they said, "Yeah, come, we have." And then there was a bunch of records, and I always thought, "Oh wow, that cost a lot of money." It was only $10
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
record,
This is
and
also. Yeah.
yeah, and then little by little you become famous and more famous, and people. Then you meet people who collects the sweets, the stones, like what I said, Donna Summer. Oh yeah, Rod Stewart. I have in Holland a guy, Rod Stewart. What he wanted from every country
Yeah.
pressings, and the more, the better.
Yeah.
I never sent it by plane. I always took it with me.
Yeah. And do you see a trend like, you know, in some people, traditional type of music like South America, merengue, bachata, for instance? Can you see a trend that, hey, in those countries, those records are very affordable, and if I buy them and bring it back to Europe, people will be like crazy because it's like exotics thing.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
said. I just said something about boogaloo
Yeah.
and salsa and the merengue. Those were they're loved up there and in Europe, and are very hard to find.
Okay.
But because all the people keep that at home,
Yeah.
and
And
you also have in Spanish ranchero and tropical. Yeah, I've been to Puerto Rico also. In that time in the 90s. But what I said, um, in this time we have Google or Chrome. You can
yeah.
find everything. And in the 90s, you couldn't find, you saw a name. First, you have to listen to it, and then you
Yeah.
say, hey, sounds nice. I take it. But nowadays, you can hear it on your phone. You just
Yeah.
put in the name. Oh, it sounds good. Oh, yeah, okay, I take it. But in my time, in the 90s, I always have to hear it, to hear it, to hear it, to hear it.
Yeah.
And so little by little, you start learning and to love the music. But the most difficult ones was always the psych.
Yeah. And I'm also giving a shout out to a good friend of mine. So he's a common
Yes.
friend. Is this Pierre-Emmanuel? Yeah. So he's the one who connect the
Yeah,
two of us, and he was mentioning like he was on a dozen time in the record show, record fair for a European in Barcelona.
yeah,
And I
okay.
know in Barcelona there is a store dedicated for South American stuff. Was that the reason why you were there, or you
No,
know?
no, no.
No. So why you? I think Milano, and Barcelona
Yeah,
are the main fair where you.
Yeah,
You're going to
this
sell
next
your
week
yeah,
and the day and the week after.
yeah.
I come there since the early 90s, but in the early 90s, I took illegally photos from pop stars like
Okay,
U2, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Nirvana. I always took illegal photos. And in the 90s, they printed a lot of CDs with illegal photos, and they all came from me. So when I saw the photos and they made it, for every photo, I got 20 CDs back for free. They bought the photos for a lot of money, but when everything was finished, I got loads of CDs. I sold that in Holland, and I brought the next time other photos from maybe Metallica, Pink Floyd, Dire Straits, Madonna,
hmm,
Prince, and yeah, that was in my first 3 years the hunt. And little by little, yeah, was the music because I started in '92. Yeah, '92 I started with Mexico.
with Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, Mexico was the first country.
And I saw because you have a list, you were like, it's pretty amazing. Bogota, 120 times. Caracas, 80
Yeah,
times. Quito, 20 times. La Paz, 10 times. Lima in Peru, 40 times. In Buenos Aires, 20 times. So you spend
Ow.
your whole life traveling in South
No,
America. Yeah.
you must know. I had only 9 days because I had a job. I was a train driver, so I had nine
Okay.
days. So I traveled from uh, Wednesday up to Thursday, right?
Hmm.
And when you flew Avianca, you could fly to Caracas or Quito or Lima for $100.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was the thing. And mostly it was only one country. So the main point was always Bogota. And the funny thing was of Bogota, I always was in the same hotel, Hotel Presidente. It don't exist anymore. But it was so funny when I came there for the 30th time. I was in my room, the phone. Hey, Mr. Rolf. I never know how those people knew I was in Bogota. It looks like the guy on the border told him, "Hey, he's there." I never know. I never know when and why that was, but the main station, yeah, was always Bogota.
Okay. Yeah.
And from there, but only Buenos Aires, I flew straight.
Yeah. Buenos Aires, it's would you say Argentina is largest producer of bands or records that has spread
Yeah,
influence all over the yeah, yeah,
they have loads of bands, loads of.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm thinking about.
Rock
Oh yeah,
Nacional,
Aqua Turbia.
yeah,
Aqua
okay.
Turbia.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And can we easily because I'm on the lookout for several records from Rock Nacional bands, you know, like Soda Stereo, Virus, Los Fabulosos
Say it again.
Cadillacs, Soda Stereo, Virus. That's typical
Oh
band
yeah, yeah, yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
80s. Is that something we can find in Europe in your store or
No,
no?
because I
Yeah.
quit in 2007, and in 2005, 6, 7, I got several times a gun on my head. And one day that was so terrible. It how you say that escalate. I was stopped by the police, and I had $700 with me. Why? When I stay there, I buy records, blah blah blah. But the thing was, I was finally I came into a bus with pimps and like the underworld from Caracas. It happens in Caracas, and I made a phone call to Gramalia, and I said I'm in trouble. They came to me with a squad, a special squad of the hotel, and they tried to save me. And there were two guys th- with Kalashnikovs, and I was on the floor, and I was laying like this, and the guy said, "You stay there, fucking gringo. I'll blow your fucking brains out." And then I thought, why am I doing this? And then I quit. And
Yeah.
yeah, the most beautiful records I could find in Caracas. But yeah, since then I've been in South America only once, no, twice in
Mhm.
Peru and Bolivia again, and in wow, oh yeah, in Argentina,
Argentina, yeah, yeah.
but just for fun.
Okay.
But
So the
that's already 15 years ago now that I quit,
so you
and
don't yeah.
I
So,
still
so
have some contacts, but only in Caracas.
okay. So you still have your store in the Netherlands, right?
Yes.
Okay, you are still running that store. So what is the main source of I would say when you need supply, when you need to purchase new batches of records, where do you go now?
Oh, I'm very lucky. Um, my name is Good Times, and
Yep.
the name is on the list for already 25 years. And mostly, I'm the first one they call. So people call me. I have a collection. I want to get rid of it, and yeah, actually, I'm since 15 years. I'm very lucky. Everybody calls me. So they have CDs and they have records.
Yep.
And sometimes I see something. We have the marketplace, like we call it here,
Yep.
5,000 records, €5,000. I went to it, and it was great. So I bought it. So then you have at once 5,000 records, all kinds of different artists, not the ones you want, because like the psych, but you have madness, you have reggae, you have
Yep.
pop, you have rock, and actually those are the things people look for. Actually, that's so strange from nowadays. All the people want the Beatles, they want Fleetwood Mac, they want Bowie, they want Queen, Guns N' Roses, Metallica.
Yep.
Actually, you could have a shop with only those bands, and you can survive.
Yeah, which is a pity because there are
Yeah,
so many other obscure band to discover. Yeah, and I can understand when you start collecting vinyl, when you start being into music, you have to start with something. You have to start
yeah.
with the big names. But if you're like curious enough, or you want to go a little bit deeper into the what was made, um, it's a pity stepping into a record store and don't asking questions. You know.
Well, yeah,
Mm,
like
yeah,
today,
yeah,
I it was because of the record store day, so I asked people, "What do you know?" And I told some stories about myself, um, what I saw in the world, and there is actually a Led Zeppelin album. I don't know which one. It's number 7, I think. There is a guy. The cover. There's a guy on the bar. He's sitting on the bar,
that's the last studio album they made
and there are
before.
5 or 6 different ones because
Yeah,
he sits
yeah,
every time on different. But
yeah.
the inside, do you know that the inside there is a um wait, wait. Okay, so this is the inside. This is the inside, and on the inside is an ashtray and a wine glass. And
Yeah.
when you put water on it and you do this, the wine glass becomes red and the ashtray becomes green. But
Okay.
you can't take it off anymore. So when you put it on, then it starts to be green and red. Many people don't know it.
Is that a
So I
certain?
always
Yeah.
have to buy another one
Yeah.
because all my ones, I have like 10, they're all colored. But
Yeah.
the
Okay.
best thing is to show it to people.
Yeah.
Even real collectors don't know.
I didn't know. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So is that a certain press, a certain like the Dutch press or the
No, no, no,
European?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's Dutch, German. I know English. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll check. I have a one copy of that one. I will
Yeah.
check.
Okay. And when
Yeah.
it must be. So this is flat. Eh? This is flat,
Yep.
and it must be a little bit raw.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it's raw, it works.
Surface.
When it's flat,
Okay.
it don't
Yeah.
work.
So people now you.
Yeah, it's an incredible.
Wait.
Also for me, when I look at it, so you do a little bit of water, like pom pom pom, and you
Yeah.
do this, and it's colored.
Yeah. So a question from Darrin Crawford. He asked if we went out for a RSD record store day
Yeah.
today.
Did you both go out? No, no, I didn't go out. I
Yeah.
was still there.
Yeah. Me neither. I have to prep for my do some prep for today's live, and was pretty busy early on. It's like
Um, but I had interesting young people in my shop, and they went from store to store to store. And the funny thing was, I'm a second-hand dealer,
yep.
but most of the guys where they were had new records and for incredible prices. And I've looked for the questions.
Just
What
want
is
to say hi from neighboring Massachusetts. Greetings. Very interesting
greeting?
guest. Yeah. Interesting conversation. Yeah, thank you,
No,
Dimitri. And this is a Klaus. This is a guy from the German vinyl community. Hello, Klaus. Hi, Romuald and
okay.
Rolf.
Yes.
The Read R&R. I have the In Through the Door. Yeah, that's the name of the album. Since back in the
Yeah.
days, brown bag, non-existence, a still white inner. Inner will change color. Okay.
Okay. The thing is also, look,
Mm,
I become 70, and so I was 15 when Woodstock was there.
yep.
And yeah, then you know all the names: the Joe Cocker, Mums, the Papa, John Bass, etc., etc.
Hmm.
And then you start to be interested in the music. But the young guys now, they have to discover it. We got the music by the radio.
Yeah.
It was played on the radio. You got it by yourself. But many people today, from 25, they have to discover it themselves. And that's very difficult, I think. They have a special, yeah, how you say that? Okay, I like Queen and maybe Rolling Stones. Bowie, I don't like that until they hear an album, because all the albums of Bowie are different. So you can't never say, "Oh, I don't like it."
Yeah, it's different. I think now we have the benefit of the hindsight. We have a better access to the information. And I was born in '86, so I don't know what I
Yeah,
know when it was by the '60s because I learned. I listened to a lot of people talking about that fantastic era. And Mark Isaïe, who is a famous radio host in Belgium, the drummer of the band Machiavel, he made a special show when Woodstock Festival turned 50 years, and he said you had some delay, like when Hendrix was performing in Woodstock. It wasn't that like immediate. People didn't know about that years later in Europe when the movies, when people went to could go to the movies, see the film they made. So it wasn't like internet now. You can post, you can have your Twitch
yeah.
account or whatever. You had to wait, you had to dig, you had magazines or radio station. The access to the information is much more complicated, much more easier nowadays than it was
Nowadays,
probably.
it's
Yeah,
incredible how easy it is actually today.
yeah, yeah.
And
But
before I bought in the 80s musical magazine and record collector.
yeah,
And in that, you always found something like, oh yes, but there is so much, so many people make music, so many different bands, so many different people. It is incredible. There is so much music.
yeah, with Spotify and with Discogs now we really have fully access, And once again, with the vinyl community as well. So people like myself, we have a YouTube channel. We talk about our stuffs, watching other people, watching other friends, sharing with us some incredible band we would never have stumbled upon or across without their guidance or their help. It's all about that. It's all about community. It's all about being curious. And yeah, and a lot of record store dealer I knew, they say, yeah, it's a pity young people stepping inside my store asking for Led Zeppelin and Beatles, and if I don't have, they just go
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
They don't take advantage of asking questions, being curious, saying, hey, what is, yeah, and that's a pity because they trust their phones, they trust their list, and they don't trust the guy. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, what you tell me now is what I did in South America. I went to South America, and I had to discover myself what is boogaloo and what is like I want to say black. What's the band from Peru? I can't remember. But I had discovered it myself.
the
And
the Bentar the Bentar
nowadays, the
the
young people
Bentarkis,
has discovered it for themselves.
yeah, the Bentarkis you were mentioning prior, no?
Excuse
Tarkus.
me?
Tarkus, the
Yeah, Tarus.
yeah. Can you share with that story? I found it amazing. It's like knowing
Okay.
somebody. Yeah.
Okay. I was offered in Holland to a guy in '95. He offered me $500 for a Tarkus. So I wrote it down and I went to Lima. I came into Lima and there is a place where before the guy were on the streets and finally they got a building. And I was in that building and I said, I have a question. I'm looking for a Tarkus. And the guy said, oh, you saw everybody look at each other like he knows about Tarkus. So, and some people start to get phone. And after 10 minutes, a guy came to me, tonight, 7 o'clock, Elvis is coming to your hotel. Hostel Roma. Hostel Roma. So, 7 o'clock, tick, tick, little guy, two records, two Tarkus. That's something like, okay. So I thought, $100 each. No, $500 each, and not one penny less. I tried something. I said, if you try it one more time, I'll walk away. So I paid him $1,000, two records.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the next day, I called my friend in Austria and I said, I have Tarkus sold. He said, straight away, sold. I said, you don't know how much I want for it. Tell me, $3,500. Sold, no problem. Then I thought, what the hell is this? So the guy in Holland, I had to disappoint him. I said, sorry, it's a very valuable record. But that's the way I found it. And
Yeah.
still, nowadays, a Tarkus, whoa, like I said, I have it 3 times. I have one of my own, but at the moment, I don't know where it is.
Yeah. It's yeah.
It's
We
somewhere.
somewhere here. Yeah. We love the story. Those are the stories in the violent community. We love those people sharing story. What is I would say the holy grail, the most collectible, maybe not one record, but can you
Uh,
think of three or
uh,
five copies, albums?
I think that for every band, Iron Maiden, Metallica, or in the psych bands, or whatever is your favorite artist, like Maria Carey or Donna Summer, I think everybody has in that world a holy grail.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
I I never had that because I never collected records. I only bought records to sell. My own collection is maybe this, not more.
Okay. Yeah.
And I listen in the shop. I listen always to music. At home, never. I think
Interesting. Romeo well said between Nathaniel Mars, David
they,
Strange name, or inspired me to buy six albums between them.
yeah, how great
Yeah,
is that?
I agree.
Excuse me, between that, I really don't know. Davy, strange name. To I see. How great is that?
That's some people in the uh, and then Klaus discovering on one's own still works was visit in
Utrecht,
Utrecht
a small record
record
store.
store called Dig It.
They played
Further
Brazilian
Brazilian
record
record.
from
Yeah,
1970. Reissue.
yeah, that's an interesting a topic. Do you see Brazil as a
Yeah,
separate country because of the Portuguese language, which is not Spanish, obviously? Do you see a sort of separation in South America?
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
yeah. I heard from guys who went to Nigeria or Guyana or in. That's so
Cabo
funny,
Verde.
eh?
Yeah,
About Africa. Africa music. That's all related to France, and the way people who wanted to have records, they yeah, they had A4, and they wrote on buy records, buy records, buy records, and it's only yeah, you need only one guy who has them because he knows another guy.
yeah,
But to find the first one, that's the thing. To have
y-
the rare records, because we have those that famous word of Northern Soul. I always thought Northern Soul is something maybe from America, but it's somewhere in England. And it's only a guy in Soho in a shop. He said once, "Hey, that's Northern Soul," and that name stayed Northern Soul. And only because of one guy in Soho said, "Hey, that's Northern Soul." And sometimes a Northern Soul 45 can do 5, 6,000 pounds. I don't know why, but it seems very rare. We talked about Holy Grail. Now,
yeah.
I think the whole world of Northern Soul, for me, are Holy Grails because, yeah, that's what I liked about. There was a singer like Duffy, like 15 years ago. She made only one album, and I saw her in Paradiso, Amsterdam, and she played only that album, and there became nothing more. But every song, yeah, was like, yeah, for me it was new. The same like Amy Winehouse, but there's also every artist have his own song, like the Police and Queen. That's so amazing about music world.
Yeah, it is.
And
Yeah,
I'm not
and
following the last 10 years of music,
mhm.
but there must be incredible things. But it's amazing how I already said it. How much music there is.
Yeah, and people still buys and listen to music, and a lot of artists are very active. Um, but it's I would say it's different nowadays. You have all this Bandcamp, which is for alternative bands,
Yeah,
and the mainstream stuff, which is played on radio or on the social network, and you have to be a bit more adventurous to discover interesting. So far, I wouldn't say mainstream is not interesting. Some people are good for that, but if you want to find other interesting stuff, you have to go a little bit deeper. You have to do some research.
Do you know Miami Vice from before the movie on
I,
television? Miami Vice,
yeah, yeah. Jan
like
Hammer.
Gloria Estefan, Miami Sound Machine. She became famous because of Miami Vice.
Yeah, that, that
So
song. Yeah,
yeah, that's so interesting. Miami Vice brought so many artists. It's the same with Saturday Night Fever.
yeah.
Was of course it was disco, but it was yeah incredible.
Yeah, some movies, and when they Bohemian Rhapsody, when Freddie Mercury passed away in
Yeah,
'91, the movie Wayne's World came out, and with Bohemian
yeah,
Rhapsody in the car, so they released a second times, and it made a hit. So
yeah. I was there. I was in '91. I was in Wembley. And
yeah,
the funny thing was, the concert came, but we didn't know who was on the concert.
yeah,
But Metallica was there, Guns N' Roses,
Seal, yeah,
Bowie, George
yeah,
Michael, Lisa Stansfield, Elton John.
yeah,
Incredible concert.
yeah. I can I can imagine, yeah. And yeah, the relationship between movies and music is a yeah, it's interesting when you see a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah,
It's a fine selection of things, and
yeah. He brings also back like the Little
been
Green Bag from George Baker.
like yeah, selection, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
it was well known in Holland, and then it was in an American movie. Very funny.
yeah, you had great bands in Holland, Golden Earring,
Yeah,
Shocking Blues, and yeah,
the Radar Love
great,
for
yeah.
the truck drivers. James
For
Last. Oh yeah, Voodoo. Yeah, very good album.
this is
It's
the
only actually the only good album of James Last. Voodoo.
I have a bunch of James Last records in my collection because my father and my grandparents they gave me the entire stuff, but it's not something
How much was that? 250.
I don't know.
James Last has loads of record,
Yeah,
loads.
yeah. In the dollar
Maybe
bin.
the guy who brought me to this program, he was in Barcelona when I brought there 300 James Last LPs. They were not all different, but I sold them all. Hey, but for €1 each. James Last.
Yeah, but this is the one. This is Pierre-Emmanuel.
Yeah, the Voodoo. The Voodoo is
Yeah,
it's a little bit like Santana.
yeah. He shared with me that anecdote. Yeah, the only highly collectible, sought after. This is spin up a
French.
French guy. He said, translate Amy Winehouse. There will soon be a biopic, a movie, so about her life, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know much more about. Yes, I think you,
Yeah,
Peter.
I didn't see the movie. I didn't see the movie.
Yeah, I'm not really happy with the latest movies, biopic
Okay, here.
stuff.
There's a heartbreaking story with Duffy released 1 month only. She is put under drugs and kidnapped for a longer time. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Great album. Great. I remember it. I bought it in Spain. I heard it on the radio and I wanted it. And I drove away from Madrid to to pick up a guy in Paris for the Brocantes. And all the
Yeah.
way, I had Duffy in the car, all the way.
Yeah.
So I played one more and more. Incredible. Duffy. Yeah, good memory.
Do you have a? I would say in your store in the Netherlands, what are the largest portion of customer non-Dutch people,
Um, Germans.
Germans?
Yeah, Germans.
Okay, because it's a so big country, very close, and
Yeah, but my shop is in Alkmaar. It's in the north of Holland, west.
okay,
And we have loads of tourists. Most of them are from Germany.
Germany. Yeah,
And the men always get a time with them. You have 1 hour to look. So the lady is in town to look for clothes, and the men are buying, digging records.
yeah. I've got 2 hours when I.
2 hours.
I've got 2 hours. I have a special deal with my wife
Okay,
because
good.
I make the cooking. The evening. So I
Oh, you
get
do
two
the
hours.
cooking?
Yeah, I do. I'm a French guy from France. I moved to Montreal, so yeah, but I still like cooking. I should be
Yeah,
starting a cooking channel, maybe. No, it's called
cooking.
cooking channel now.
Hmm. A question. It's not about music.
Yeah,
Montreal, the airport. Um, how do you get go out of the planes? Are you still going with that bus which goes up
No,
and it
no,
drives to the?
no.
Okay,
It's a small airport. It was intended to build another one, a bigger one outside of the island.
okay.
But there were so many. It's a joke. It's a joke. So never had proper connection. So we knew right from the 70s, 60s onwards that this airport wasn't really fine with economic development. So yeah, they had a plan to have to build another. They built actually another Mirabel airport, but some problems. So
Yeah, I
they
was.
went they
I
went
was.
they went back to the small one. They went back to the small one on the island, which is Trudeau.
Yeah, I was in Spain a
Yeah,
few weeks ago, and I
yeah,
saw also. It's a bus. It goes up,
yep,
and then he drives to where you go out, and you walk, and you can go to the left and to the right along the driver. Then the bus goes down, and then it drives again. That was on
yeah.
Montreal. I've been only once in Montreal.
Yeah, the thing is, it's the parking lot is so freaking expensive. So
Oh yeah.
last time I had to pay like I don't know, maybe $300 for 4 or 5 days when last time I was in the UK. And yeah, there is a shuttle bus which connects the people from the parking lot up until the terminal. But the airport, the terminal itself, it's not that. Yeah, it's not that big. It's pretty small compared to
Okay.
Heathrow or Charles de Gaulle or maybe
Yeah,
uh,
incredible big.
Schiphol. Yeah, yeah.
And one question
Okay.
to you.
Yeah,
Um, there is because there's also in France. I said it already, like Ghana or Nigeria, um, Angola. Now Angola is more Portuguese, but
yeah.
you
Senegal, Mali.
The
Yeah,
French people has a lot of funk music. Is
yeah.
that also in Canada?
Uh, it's not the same. It's not the same. Of course, France, you have all this post-colonialism culture that blend with North Africa people. Here is a little bit different. I would say in Toronto, a big community from India, from Pakistan.
Yeah.
In in Montreal, a lot of people from eastern part of Europe and Latin America. So yeah,
Is it in winter very cold in Montreal?
it depends what you can call. We had just have a very smooth winter, so not very amount of snow. Yeah, sometimes it can drop below minus 30, minus 35 degrees C.
Wow.
But last winter we just had a very smooth winter, as I said. We had a snow. We had some snow, but temperature wasn't that bad. We maybe once
Do
had
you have
minus.
the malls? Are they underground or above the ground?
Yeah, this is something very known. It's not very like yeah. There is underground mall which connect the central railroad station to the central mall in Sainte
Yeah.
Catherine, but it's not something like hey all over the place. Um, Tourists are crazy about that because they read that in the travel book. Oh, it's something you have to see. But for us, I've never been to those places because it's not like
But you told you have been in Germany. Uh, that's
yep,
another world than Canada. But yeah, Germany is more rock, pop rock,
yeah.
not so much about funk. But how did you yeah, organize your love for music? Was it which way? What is your favorite actually?
Yeah, I would say rock probably. Yeah, rock from mid '60s up until early '80s. Yeah, probably. Even though I listen to a lot of different stuff and genre and artist and world music and sorry if we are not supposed to say world music anymore, but you understand. Yeah, I would say UK band or American French band a little bit, but yeah, I organized since I started with with the classic, with the Beatles, with the Stones, with the Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, and Now I find interesting. There are so many obscure bands from that era that we
Yeah.
can get to know, rediscover. Psych band, progressive music as well, mainly from that period, or the early '80s, new wave, post punk stuff. When it was not that commercial, prior, the new romantic and all that craziness,
Mhm.
when bands like, I think, Joy Division and Kraftwerk in German, they were probably in my book two bands that have inspired a whole generation of bands. And these are the bands I really I'm into, like Echo and the Bunnymen, Psychedelic Furs, Killing Joke, for instance, very early U2 stuff, or a heavy new wave, OMD, Gary Newman, early,
No, it's funny because you're
yeah,
only 36,
38,
38. Ah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Then you know quite a lot.
Yeah, but some people know more than my, and it's not a competition. It's not about, hey, I know more, but yeah, it's
And what about soul?
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I had some
Uh,
cassette from the Supremes, from Diana Ross. Yeah, the band, the label
yeah, it was.
Stax.
I lived, of
Yeah,
course, in the 70s, and the 70s
yeah,
was disco, soul.
yeah,
That's and then we got the punk with the wave, and end of the 80s started Duran Duran and all those. What is the other one? Depeche Mode.
yeah.
The
Simple
music
Minds.
changed
Yeah,
little by little.
yeah. It changed. Yeah, with MTV. Yeah, of course,
MTV,
with
yeah,
the video change. Yeah, it changed a lot. Yeah, Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna,
yeah,
uh, putting color.
yeah. Even the clips, the clips made it different.
The clips helped. Yeah, Sledgehammer for Peter Gabriel wouldn't have made the same success without the video,
Yeah,
in my opinion. And the Norwegian band from Take on Me, what's Aha, if yeah. It was
yeah,
all they had the imagination, the technique started to be pretty up to scratch to do certain things. So the
yeah,
'80s was certainly very, very, very interesting, and people still had a good mood. What we
yeah,
call in France, the 30 glorieuses, the 30 years after the war. So when they
yeah,
were rebuilding Europe, people had opportunities, chances. They had money. The lower class, they could benefit from the progress, which is not very true now. In When you go in Brazil, or I don't do politics in my channel, but back in the days when you were an immigrant and you could work your ass off, you could study, you could very take advantage of that.
yeah,
So being happy, buying a car, being having a family, and buying records, and the music was reflecting that great period of time when people could really have a good life.
yeah,
And so you have like stupid songs, they are like really silly, but people liked it because they didn't have a problem with politics, with their jobs. Now it's different. Now it's post COVID situation, and
yeah.
all that jazz. People are really less keen to listen to a silly music because they are not in the same mood. But
Right.
yeah, this is my perspective. Yeah.
You were interested in the story about Tarkus, but there is another great story because actually, hey, you're gone. Oh,
I'm back.
you're
I'm
gone.
back.
You're back.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, no problem. In '93 or '94, I came to from Mexico to South America, Bogota, and I flew Avianca, and the guy said, if you look for a nice hotel, go to El Presidente. Well, I got there, and after a few days, I found a record. It's called El Primero. It's yeah. You have to look in your telephone. El Primero Los Beatles. and it has a incredible rare cover. And I found it scratched. It was scratched. Um, the cover was the mouses has eaten it, and I thought, okay. So I brought it to a record fair in Holland, and I sold it to a beetle collector for 350 guilders. It's like in that time, like 200 pounds. And then I thought, wow, imagine I found a mint one. How much is that worth? So in the first trip to Colombia, I met a very nice girl. She was the owner of the Hotel Presidente, and we fell in love. So I made a fax. You can imagine a fax because it's always before a fax. I need a El Primero, and in that I saw her, and she collected 4 or 5. I don't remember. So I went to Milano with those 4 Il Primeros,
Hmm.
and I put them on the wall. And guess who was my first client?
The guy from there.
Hans Pokora.
Oh yeah,
Hans Pokora.
yeah.
He said, how much? I said 1,000. He bought it. I thought, wow. So 1 hour later, the second one, 1250. Hans Pokora. The third one, 1,500. Hans Pokora bought it. And can you imagine? That record became a flight. So all my flights were actually paid by that record for years, up to 1999.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? One record, 1,500 guilders or mark, like the German marks.
Yeah. So
That and my girlfriend always says, "Rob, oh," she foxed and said, "I found all again three
hmm.
or four," and she knew how much money I made out of that. So you can fly again for free.
Yeah. So 1,000 German Deutschmark in '99
Yeah.
was probably 500 euro nowadays. So 500
Yeah.
US
Oh no,
dollar.
no, nowadays it's about
It was a
650,
half.
650, uh, 650 euro.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But can you imagine? It paid a flight.
Yeah. It only takes one record, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when we do trade show, and with my real job, we don't say it takes only one customer who will pay the booth and, and everything,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
travel,
yeah, yeah.
the hotel.
Yes.
It only takes one project, one serious client, and we're done. And a question for you, Rolf. Back in the time, were any trips to South America dangerous? And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Just back in time.
yeah,
That's like what I said in 2007. I quit.
yeah,
But I've seen in that time between 2005, 6, 7, too many times guns. That was also the first time when I came to Colombia. It was only guns. It was incredible. My girlfriend invited me to the hacienda, uh, 60 kilometers out of Bogota. The first thing they learned was how to use the gun. And don't say, "Who are you?" Shoot straight away. So incredible, violent was Bogota. Bogota now is okay, but don't go to Caracas. That's very dangerous. And I heard
yeah,
also Quito, because the drugs don't come anymore from Colombia, so they go to Peru and Ecuador.
yeah, yeah. That's also a reason why there are so many immigrants over here.
Yeah,
And I'm making a shout out to a good friend of mine. Uh, he's from Chile originally.
really?
He's been
Yeah.
living in Canada, and I'm just giving a shout out because that's the one he gave me for my birthday.
What's
This is
Oh, the Maiden. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this is a yeah. It's just a shout out, a clan for him because it's he gave me that album for my as a gift, and it's live was recorded in 2011 in Estadio de Chile, Estadio Nacional de Chile, and just for him, just a shout out. And they are so many people from Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Chile, because of that. That's him. Salut Raul.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
I
and
was in 1999. I was in Chile and in Argentina, and I went to the wall to get money out of the wall. I said, "Cajero automático." Oh yeah, cajero automático. I had to think. You know, cajero automático.
that's the ADM, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's
The
the ATM.
yeah,
It was nice to
ATM,
hear, right? Cajero automático.
cajilla automática.
And in Argentina, you could choose between 1 peso or $1. Can you imagine? Nowadays, you get for $1 you get 100 peso.
Yeah,
But in 1999, when you did the card in, you could choose peso or dollar. It was the same.
yeah,
So because of the inflation.
yeah. And this is what I say. There are so many people from those places. They just immigrate from like those coast countries to Montreal because of the politics of all the
Yeah.
other issues about it. But it's nice because now it's very multicultural in Montreal. Yeah, so
I was in Argentina.
c'est limité.
I was always photographing autos, cars. And there is in Argentina a car called Ford Falcon.
Yeah, I
It's
know
a
that
car
one. The
from the
old, yeah,
70s.
yeah.
And I always took photos of a green one. And then somebody said, "Why do you take a photo from the green one?" I said, "I like the color." And in the bad days, in the 70s, when there was a green Falcon in front of your house, there was a military car. So they pick up
Okay,
the people, you you get killed or what else.
yeah,
But people ask me, why do you take photos only of the green one? I said, I like the color. Not because it's a military car. I like the color. But it was very funny. The time I went there, it's the same in Chile. It's only Santiago de Chile when you go to a coffee bar. Um, it's called Coffee with Legs. You understand that?
coffee with legs.
Yeah, Coffee with Legs. So they have a cafe and with a huge bar, and
Yeah,
behind the bar, everything is a little bit higher because the girls are small, but they're well dressed. They have a short, yeah, like long legs,
yeah.
nice décolleté, and they come to you and say, "Hey, you want a coffee? You want azúcar, etc." But it's called Coffee with Legs. It's
Café con
only
piernas. Yeah.
Santiago de Chile.
Café con piernas. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah,
Do you agree if now I put the link so I will be
yes,
maybe allowing other people to join the stream if someone wants to come up
yeah. Café con piernas.
and
Yeah, yeah,
chat
very,
and have a chit chat with the both of us, so you can
yeah,
if you have questions or we will be making the things a little bit more interactive.
yeah.
If you want to say hi or to talk about South America, and
Hello.
I'm just highlighting this code du This is my good friend Stunty, and we are starting a new project with my Paul Stunty tomorrow, Sunday. We will be having a very first live stream episode on our Discuff. This is the name of the channel. This
Yeah,
is a live stream in French. So if you speak Francais, you can maybe be
keep
tuning in to tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. But this is I have a channel. I only have a channel in English because there are so many people from around the world who watches the videos and the live stream. So it's a little bit better. But I have a connection with the German. Do you speak German, by the way?
Ja, ich spreche Deutsch, ja.
Du kannst auch Deutsch sprechen. Okay.
Meine Freundin ist auch Deutsch.
Okay.
Von Berlin. So.
Berlin.
Yeah, Berlin.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. This is a funny thing. I've been in 3 cities more than 100 times. Tell me, which ones? In Europe. No, in Europe, Bogota, and now the other two.
So a city where you've been more than how many times?
100 times.
Yeah, Bogota. Bogota.
Yeah, there's one. And then two more.
Uh, probably Caracas. No.
There's C. It's C. Only with B.
Ah, Berlin.
Yes. And
Yeah,
one more.
would be as well.
Yeah.
Um, Berlin.
You already spoke about it.
Ah. Uh,
Milan and then
Barcelona.
yeah.
Barcelona. Yeah, yeah.
So imagine 100 times
Bien
more.
joué.
3 cities.
Yeah, bien joué.
Yeah.
Au lieu de deviner, essayez de vous pointer. I'm just speak to my two
Yeah. No
friends.
problem. No problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, a very good question from Raul.
Uh,
Uh,
well.
what is a record? Oh, what is a record in South
Oh,
America you would
I
recommend
I
us?
I love.
Salut, hello.
Salut,
Yeah. Black Sugar.
Black Sugar.
Black Sugar. 2 records from Peru. It's a funky record. When you hear Too Late, that's the first song you say, "Oh, I want it," straight
Hmm.
away. Black Sugar.
Okay.
And yeah, recommend. I've seen there are so many, so many good records.
I'm really into cumbia from Peru. There's lots of really interesting cumbia records that would surprise people who have this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
idea about what cumbia is.
yeah. Cumbia. Yeah, yeah, it's right. I like cumbia and boogaloo.
Mm.
And what is so interesting about Peru, it's also you don't think, but it's the salsa country #1. You should think it's like Caracas or Bolivia or Colombia. No, it's Peru. Peru is salsa.
Peru is a very strong country when it comes to culture and to music. Much
Yes.
more, people don't talk about it because people think about Mexico, Brazil,
Yeah.
uh, uh, but yeah, Peru. There's actually, I think Peru is probably the country in South America that has the most amount of current labels doing vinyl records. Like there's a label called Boo,
Ooh,
Buh,
yeah.
and they release a lot of avant-garde, experimental, electroacoustic music
Yes.
from the history of Peru, and also new music like that, and also prog rock and folk and all
Yeah,
kinds
yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah. Now I remember Lagonia, and wow, the Flippers. The Flippers are also from Peru. The label is Firi, eh? Biri. It's
Mm.
Virrey. That's a huge label with incredible artists on it. Yes. You have been to Peru already or not?
I've been to Argentina
Yeah.
and to Chile and to Colombia.
Colombia. And Colombia when?
About 2004, 2005. I had a Colombian girlfriend, and I'm from Paris originally. I'm in Sweden
Okay.
now, and it was funny because like we were supposed to go there for 2 weeks,
Yes.
and 2 days before we went there, she told me, "Okay, I'm gonna come to your place and check all your clothes and tell you if it's all right." And of course, she was telling me, "No, these shoes are too fancy. Don't take them. Like this is too risky."
Yeah. Yes, it's correct. Yes, but that's the
It is
same.
like it is a real culture clash. Like when you come from the West, like
Europe.
that. Like yeah, I remember this, like 2 streets away from where we were staying, there was a dead body in the street,
Yeah,
and 5 days later, the dead body was still there.
still there. Yeah, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine in my early days in Colombia, it was so incredible dangerous
Mm.
because of the FARC. The FARC killed every day 20 people. 20 people. And they told me when I walk or travel in Bogota, I had to call the yellow cab, the yellow cab. So I was with a family and far away from my hotel, and I said, "Can you please call me a yellow cab?" And the guy insists on, "I bring you to to a hotel El Presidente." I said, "Please give me a yellow cab." It didn't happen. You know what happened? Because he brought me around 10 to my hotel, and he stopped for a traffic light, and I said, "What are you doing?" Nobody stopped for a traffic light after 8 in Bogota. So there came a motorcycle with two guys. They took the guy out, they put him on the front of the car, and they killed him. Like bam bam. And I was in the back. It was like, what's this? And I've seen it several times. What happened? Colombia was first one of the most dangerous countries in the world. Now it's okay, but now it's Caracas. And I've seen so many guns that sometimes I thought, yeah, why am I doing this? And that's why I quit. Yeah, you want to give your life for records?
Yeah, no, I had a friend. He was a photo reporter. Hello, Darren.
I
Hi,
know.
Darren.
Oh,
And he
hi
went.
everyone.
I think it was in 2005. He went by himself to Colombia, and he was going into the wild
Yeah.
there. And one day they recovered his body in a river with both legs broken, and all his stuff in his hotel room stolen. And that
Wow.
was it. No investigation could say anything.
No.
Mm.
And who's this?
So this is Darren,
Darren.
another fellow
Oh,
member from the vinyl, international vinyl community. Hi, Darren.
Well, I'm not international. That's far from it.
Yeah,
But it's a so just so I get your because I think we met on George Borden's stream. I think. Uh,
yeah, the big
so
one, the marathon.
if I get your name incorrect, I just want to make sure I get it right. Ramon.
Yeah,
Ramon, call him Ramon today.
call him French wanker.
No, no, that would be Mazzy's version of that. So
No problem.
anyway, yeah, it's a fine pleasure to see you again, and I think it's Rolf. I never met
yeah.
you, but fine pleasure to meet you. And Stunty, great. It's great seeing you again. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
it's a special episode. Rolf is not part of the vinyl community, but he has a very interesting story to share with us as a record owner. As I said, you've been following the whole stream, right? So yeah, I don't have to.
I haven't, because personally, because there was some football that I was that I was intent to watch, and then I was reminded, oh yes, Romuald has the stream today. Oh, I'll watch it after. And
Yeah, but French Vinyl Addict is much more important than Olympique Lyon. You have to remember that, Stunty.
come on, that was the semi-final of the Champions League.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Some people told me, why don't you, when or why don't you write a book? And but I already know the title, and it's the what's this? Because I went once, I met a guy with a shoe shop in Bogota, and El Fabuloso Holandeses. Yeah, El Fabuloso Holandeses. And I was already more than 100 times in Bogota, and I met that guy. He had outside, he had some records. He said, "You want records?" Yes. And he came to a room. It was like the most famous room of Tutankhamun. Only records. It was 4x4, and he said, "Everything here is $10." That day, I spent $5,000 in one day. I never bought so much records in one time. In there was Iron Maiden, Rolling Stones, Queen, color albums. I had never seen it, never, ever before. So you can imagine, every album became more than $100 each. And the guy said, "How long are you coming in Bogota?" I said, "Look, I'm here since '92. And where do you stay?" "Hotel Presidente." And then he said, El Fabuloso Holandeses. And that's the name of my book, probably.
Yeah.
When I write everything down.
It's so weird, your story right now, because it's a story I've very rarely told, but my best digging place ever was actually a shoe shop in Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm.
Yeah. It was like I was like being a bit frustrated with the shop at one point, and I'm into Rolf. You don't know me, but I'm really into experimental, avant-garde, free jazz, like records that usually only have one pressing, 300
Yeah.
copies, 500, like really difficult stuff. And I was passing by this shop as every day in the middle of center Stockholm, and it was like a shoe shine, shoe repair shop, and he
Yeah.
was also doing the keys, as they usually do.
Yeah.
And there was like a box of records there, and I never, you don't expect there to be anything good. I just thought it was like crap. And
Yeah.
and one day, because of the rain, I stopped there. I decided purposely, okay, I have to hide somewhere from the rain, and okay, that will be my excuse to just check. And there was some good records, some actually like records you would be even surprised to find in a good record store.
Yeah.
So I asked him, and basically he owned the shop, and the neighbor above him was an old professor, jazz critic, who had like a 25,000 record collection that he was every week he was giving him some records, and neither of them had any idea of what the prices or anything. So everything was exactly like you said. It was like $10, and there were records that were like 200, 300, 500 dollars. And I had, like, it's such a good story that I had to force myself to not tell it to anyone.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Your best kept secret. That's good.
Yeah.
Stunty, how do you know when I look up to you, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass, but if you want me to, I will. But I look up to you, I look up to Jose, and I look up to Stefan, because like I'm in Canada, and so is Raul, but I think Raul and I probably have very, very similar tastes in music. But I'm always trying to get into the I guess sort of, I want to have not too much, keep it within my own pleasures, but I'm always intrigued by when you and Stefan and Jose start presenting and Stefan start presenting things, because it's out of the norm. It's not out. It's like, it's just really, really out there. But when you guys talk about it, you're very, very passionate about it. So when you go into the record shop that you were just talking about, how do you know, like, how do you know what is good? Like, do you just go in blind when you pick the album out?
Yeah. You go in blind, because the way I found records in Bogota the first 2 years, I went into every building, like how you say it, malls, and I walked them all to find records. And in 92, 93, the world was so unknown for me in records. Like I said, nowadays you can, if you when you hear a name, you will put on Google and you know at once what it is. But in the 90s, we didn't know.
Yeah.
But everything what I found there was great. Everything was, yeah, passion. And the funny thing was, I flew actually Avianca, but later I went up to Delta because I could take more records. But yeah, it was only first Atlanta and then Bogota. You could take three suitcases or 32 kilos. I had a backpack with records and I had a trolley. Now with Avianca, only two. So more and more and more. So, and listen, it was really digging, always digging. So I had a phone call.
But when you dig, like, are you like, how does it come to you? Like, I look at the album cover and I think of something that I've never heard before, and but it, I could grab it and it could be shit, but I could grab it and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh my god, how the hell did this come out? Like, this is great.
Sometimes, hey, sometimes it's our how you say that in German? Fingerspitzengefühl.
Fingerspitze. Yeah.
Yeah, what's that? It's really but it's true. You look and you think, hey, what's that? I tell you a nice story. The first time I was in Mexico, actually the second time, the guy said to me, I have here a box of records. You can buy them all, $10 each. In it was Zapata, Dukes, everything. And I brought it to Europe. Oh, it's funny. I brought it to Europe. I tried to sell it. Nobody wants it. And then again, I went to Italy. I went to the record fair. And who came at my stall? Hans Pokora. Again, Hans Pokora. And he said, how much? Everything. So it was so funny because he bought everything. I listened, of course, first, everything. And everything is rock. Everything was Spanish rock. And can you imagine? It's Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, yeah, Argentina. It's incredible. Argentina, that's actually, now for me, I think the holy grail of records.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there is so much up there. There's so much good music. So many different kinds of music.
Is it like certain countries in Europe, like in the UK, for instance? It's freaking expensive. It's no secret for anyone in London. So you have to travel a bit, going a little bit deeper in the countryside to have a better deal. Is that the same in Argentina? So like Buenos Aires,
Maybe Argentina is a bit like France, Germany, England, Italy, and that mixed.
Yeah.
All those music is mixed, and that's on a record. It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's look, I'm now almost 70, but I did that when I was 45. Then your brains are more open than now. Now you get tired.
In what genre are you like interested in right now? If you're still keen to discover new stuff?
No, it's what your name, Stunty. What is Stunty?
Yeah.
The boogaloo and the cumbia. That's also a world to discover, but very hard to find and very expensive. I'm also you see it about hip hop. Can you find hip hop? Yeah, you can find it, but it's
Yeah.
incredible expensive. But for 20 years ago, you could buy it for nothing, and that's the hype. That's also the hype.
Yeah, that's the hype. That's people. They rediscover vinyl records that they want to find the albums they grew up with in the '90s
Yeah,
that they bought on CD back then. They expect to find
Mhm.
OJ Press,
That's
but
right.
in 1998, uh, maybe my record store back then had maybe one vinyl and 60 CDs for the same.
Yeah, it was all CDs. Yeah,
It
that's
was
right.
all CDs. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You like the albums of Oasis, 800-900 pounds. The CD, €5.
5 year. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
But the
CDs.
great thing is, I mean, if you think about it, like for me, I was never really um, an Oasis fan apart from just listening to a few songs. But I actually got the reissue of this Oasis thing. What's the Morning Glory or whatever it is,
Yeah,
and I got the reissue of it, and I have to say, overall,
yeah.
if you take
30 years
away
later,
if you take away the hype from it, it's actually a very, very good album. I really, really enjoy it. But
yeah,
when it starts getting into that whole Beatles versus Oasis thing, it's like songwriters is like, no, just shut up. There's just just don't. Just enjoy it for what it is. But I wasn't really sort of what's the word? I guess sort of privy to that album back in the 90s. I was into other stuff, like really weird shit. But but now that I bought it as a reissue and I have it on my turntable, it's like what? It's a fine album. It's great. Sounds great.
yeah. Maybe it's also when it came out, you were not ready for it, so you get a little bit older,
Yeah.
and then
Well.
it comes
Yeah.
in.
Well, the problem is with me, like I'm sure Ramo, you probably appreciate this more. I'm a Genesis fan, like Tony Banks Genesis fan. So everything that was coming out in the '90s was more guitar oriented. So I just sort of put like the whole Nirvana and Pearl Jam. I just put that aside because I just kind of thought, well, this is just sort of wear plaid and bang your head against the wall kind of music. And it's like, well, there's no I don't know. I just didn't really feel there was a lot of substance to it. Now, I know a lot of people probably criticize me for saying that, but I just didn't really feel it didn't really have a lot of
Darren, I think
it didn't have a lot of spirit in my
I,
but,
what you're
but
saying is,
that's not to say
Darren,
that
Darren,
I don't knock people who love Nirvana or Pearl Jam or anything like that.
Darren. I'm what you're saying is just telling me that you weren't digging deep enough, because the 90s is not at all the decade of rock and roll. Far from that. It's the decade of electronic music, of
Hip
rap,
hop, hip hop.
of
Yeah.
and in rock there's tons of extremely like in rock it's the post rock decade, like
Well,
literally
Yeah, but
uh like
Stunty, are you
wait, wait,
saying
wait,
that?
let me finish, let me
Stunty, are
finish.
you saying that in
Wait,
a? Are you saying no,
Darren,
no, no?
Darren,
Are you saying
Darren,
that in
let
a
me
good way,
finish.
or are you saying that in a bad
Darren, Darren, let me finish, and then it's like post rock was literally all these bands like space rock, and even the stuff from the indie world like My Bloody Valentine and all that, extremely
way?
sophisticated music.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like what you're telling us your feelings were about, like headbanging music. Like I'm literally someone who began his music journey in like the at the end of '89.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a very, very different experience from the about the '90s than what you're presenting.
Yes, but no, no, no. I'm not trying. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that, like, when I ask you, did you find that a positive thing when you were growing up in, I guess, well, from '89 in the '90s? Was that a positive thing for you growing up, or was it a negative thing
For
based on
me,
the music that you listen to now?
For me, I would say I think you have an echo. Oh, it's gone now. I would say it's always difficult. I tend to second guess myself a lot. Everyone tends to think of their decade as the pinnacle in a way. I
Mhm.
do tend to think so about the 90s for popular music, in the sense that in the 90s is the last decade where you have a massive majority of genuine new music before
Mhm.
we get into postmodernism. I think that by the end of the 90s, most popular music is postmodern, in the sense that it's actually not trying necessarily to break free from the past, but try to secure, the success from the past, to
Yeah.
reframe the success of the past
Yeah.
in non-particularly original ways. I'm talking about mainstream music, obviously.
Mhm. Yes,
Also,
of course.
I think that in the 90s and all decades before, whatever style of music you were doing, however experimental left field it was, there was always the possibility of success. Like if a band like My Bloody Valentine was to do what they were doing now, starting now,
Mhm.
that's very popular for 10,000 people, or for, like, I mean, there is nowadays, since the late 90s, I think most musicians, when they start and they identify what kind of music they're doing, they already kind of know how big they can be, because everything is more compartmentalized than it used to be.
Mm.
No, I think
That's
the
my
90s,
opinion.
the
No,
90s
that's
is
interesting.
more the grunge. Eh?
Yeah.
It started with Nirvana. It became Seattle, and actually with the Beatles had, of course, Liverpool, and Liverpool had Jerry and the Pacemakers, and it was all surrounded around Liverpool, and of course London. But in the 90s, we have also, the grunge, Seattle. It was for 5 years. It was a sort of a hype.
Yeah, but you also have all the ambient techno of Aphex
Yeah,
Twin or Tucker. You have the drum and bass. You
yeah,
have the trip hop. You have rap. You
yeah,
have so
everything.
many other things that are, of course, like Nirvana is the biggest band of.
Oh, yeah, Rage Against the
90s.
Machine was at time. Sonic Youth,
Yeah,
um, My Bloody Valentine, all those
but
guys.
there's much more than just rock in the
Yeah,
90s. I think rock is kind of like a small, like if it was not for Nirvana, we wouldn't think about the 90s as a rock decade almost at all, because there were really
Really? You think
rock
that?
bands.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
think. So, I think so. Yeah.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
there's
for
a
I
lot of
no,
great rock
no,
bands.
I'm not criticizing. I never would have thought of it that way.
There's a lot of great rock bands in the 90s, but none that would have been as influential, if not for Nirvana, like really making all the 80s rock and the theatrics, all of that, making it obsolete, and suddenly that rock is again something that you can feel something real for, not just be a fan of. Like it was more, suddenly it was not vertical, it was horizontal, like
Right.
the relationship between the musicians, the scene, and the fans, the buyers, the music lovers. Whereas in the 80s, with bands like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses,
Mhm.
Metallica, and all that, it's very vertical. Like they're up
Yeah.
on stage, and you have to revere them to buy the memorabilia and all that. And they don't look like normal people either, because they all have all these costumes, which
Yeah.
is creating distance as
A
well.
gap. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is that I'm biased because I'm a piano keyboard player. So my bias goes, well, when Nirvana came out and Pearl Jam and all that stuff, and Oasis, and that's what I was trying to tell you, Stunty, is that the way my perception was at the time was it came from a very, very biased point of view, because it was like, I mean, not that I was really, really a big fan of 80s music, even though that was keyboard oriented, but I do appreciate the guitar sense in the 90s. But at the same time too, it's like I just didn't feel that there was a lot of like melodic music coming out. And I think when I talk about, and I'm sorry if I offend people, but when I hear Nirvana and Pearl Jam, I just don't feel the melodic sense, because there are other guitar oriented bands out there who present melodic that melodic sense very, very well. So that's where I kind of got a little bit lost back in the
Let me give you
90s. So
another perspective
that's
on
why I
what you
sort of
just
had
said.
this like little disdain towards 90s music. That's all.
Let me just give you some perspective on what you just said. Is the case in point Nirvana. When you hear like people in the street playing Nirvana songs, or when you hear it like, you know, like teenager at a fire camp or whatever, if you play a Nirvana song on the guitar, what are you playing? What part of the song are you playing?
Well, it's no different from Tori Amos doing the Nirvana song that she covered.
No, Darrin.
It's the same thing. It's a song is a song. You either like it or you don't.
You're missing the point completely.
Sorry.
If you are playing a Nirvana song on the guitar, most of it will be the melody that is being sung by Kurt Cobain.
Yes.
Which means that Nirvana is actually a very, very melodic band. Have very strong melodies.
Yes, but probably not in the sense because it gets colored by the instruments or the recording. It depends, right?
Yeah, it gets colored, but in deep down, in the DNA of the music, it is extremely melodic music, which is interesting because like Nirvana is actually the first band I went to see live in 1990 or something like that, and I knew nothing. It was an accident, and what struck me was that was the opposite of what I'm saying right now. Noise can be beautiful. Noise can be and that was a revelation to which I'm still like the child of the product of that, like to not looking for beauty necessarily in the ornaments, like the technique and all that, like something different. And that was a very valuable lesson.
But when you went to see them, how was it for you? Like, did you freak out and go nuts?
I was 13. I had no idea. I had no clue. It was just like
no. But what was your emotion like after it? Like, did you feel great?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's good.
And you, Rolf, what it was for you, the non-rock music of the 90s? How did it affect you?
Well, I started. Well, again,
I said Rolf, Darrin.
He asked the question to Rolf. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant me.
Say it again, Stunty.
How did the non-rock music affect you during the 90s?
The non-rock.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like
I said, everything. Actually, for us, we got the music like food. All the styles, grunge, soul, disco, because the disco still played on, and in the 90s. Yeah, where was I after? The 90s. Now, actually, it's a good question because actually in the 90s, I was only traveling. I did my work and the travel. Actually, I discovered the world of South America. I discovered your cumbia and your boogaloo and the tropical, the merengue, and not so specifically in Europe.
So you missed a little bit of the Western music that was being the new music of the 90s. You missed a little bit of it.
Yeah, I missed it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was South America. That was Every 6 weeks, Stunty. Every 6 weeks flying, and then 9 days, 9 days, and then go here, go there. Oh yeah, and the funny thing was, all the people knew that I was a lot in Colombia and Venezuela. So a record guy called me and he said to me, "Hey Rolf, I'm going to Colombia. Do you know addresses of girls?" I said, "I'm sorry, I don't know, because I was only looking for records." And the guy said, "You didn't go for no records." He didn't believe me. He said, "It's true. I don't have any addresses for you. Sorry. Go there." Funny, eh?
In
Yeah.
the like 10 years ago, I had when my band was touring a lot around the world. I had my friends also like, oh, every weekend in a different city. Oh,
Yeah,
and even like sometimes you'd have girls come to you,
yeah,
and I was thinking always like, tomorrow morning I only have like 4 hours to go to the record stores or the bookstores.
yeah.
Like, no, sorry, I'm not bringing a girl to the
No,
hotel with me that like is gonna take over the whole morning. I'm not doing that.
I had today a funny thing in the shop. Uh, I had a Madonna album, and a guy said, "Hey, there's an array of light. How much is it?" I said, "It's 30 euros." And then he said, "Oh, then I prefer 30 minutes with my girlfriend."
Fair enough.
No, I said, "But after that half an hour, you get rid of the 30 you, but after from here, you still have that record." Yeah, the girl was more important.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Third is more important.
Do you know how
No,
many? Do you know how many records you bought from South America during all those years?
no,
No.
uh, maybe 4,000 a year, and
Holy crap!
the biggest ever was 400,000 in one time. 400,000, 12 inches actually,
Yeah.
Wow.
and in that was very nice. The first album of the Foo Fighters was in there, and not one, no, 150. And I thought, that's nice. I take them to Barcelona and make a wall from Foo Fighters. And everybody was like, "Oh!" And it was in the 90s, so I sold them all for 10 euro. Nowadays, it's a load of money. But that's something like I like to, how do you say that? I like to enjoy.
Hmm.
I don't have to be rich of records. I like to. Uh, I like people to smile when they buy the record. Okay, bye, thank you. It's a pity I gave them today a sort of placemat what you put on your record player, and it's funny. I had in the Brabant Hall, the record fair from last week. I had also a wall of records, and on every cover were the Twin Towers. I collect them. I have more than 100 different covers with Twin Towers on it. And there was a German guy. He had something, a sort, yeah, well, like I say, the placement what you put on your pickup with New York on it. And I said, "How much are they?" I said, €2. I said, "Wow, what a money for something which is 40 years old." So I talked to him a long time, and finally I bought 200 for €100. And today I gave to every customer one. And so if you want one, come next week to Milano, Novegro, you get one too. Or go to Barcelona, I'm there too. Or come to Alkmaar. Come to Alkmaar.
What and a stupid question, why Milano and Barcelona? Why those two cities?
Now, Milano, I always go for the two record fairs outside of Europe or outside of Holland. I have a name there. I'm
Okay.
the crazy guy from Holland. I'm cheap, because when people come to me, yeah, it's true. Because when I
No, I'm laughing because there's nothing wrong with that.
no, but it's incredible. I sell a Beatles for €10, and in Italy they sell a Beatle album for €40.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's why I go to Milan now. I sell CDs for €3.
Yeah, you were
I
sending
have
me pictures. Yeah.
customers, they buy 100. And when I go to that customer, it's a dealer, of course, and he sells them for 25. Can you imagine to buy a CD at the moment for €25? No. But in Italy, it happens. And then I go to Barcelona, the same. Loads of CDs and cheaper records. On Friday, I'm 5, on Saturday, 3, and on Sunday, I'm 1. And everything is sold. Everything. Gone. Also a name. But I come there already since 92. 30 years on the road, baby. Always by car. Everything.
So then, what happens when? And I want to ask. I want to ask all of you. What happens when you find someone? I really shouldn't put his name out there, but we'll just say there's somebody who's sort of known in the vinyl community, um, who's flipping records, and he's sort of made it sort of a sort of stance, or sort of made that his sort of a shtick, if you will. How do you feel about that? Because in my mind, I always think to myself, well, if he's doing it for the sense of trying to make money, I really don't see an issue with that. However, at the same time, too, um, another person in the vinyl community brought up a really, really great point, which is if you're going to sort of suburban areas and you're grabbing everything from, say, Walmart or your local record store, scooping them up, and then trying to flip them that way, that takes away from the person who really, really wants the album. Now, in his defense, I would say, yeah, but if somebody really, really wanted the album, they would have scooped them up in the first place. So is he doing anything wrong? That's my question. Is he really, really doing anything wrong by being a sole flipper, or somebody who's trying to
I think there's not like one answer
No.
for every cases in that, but like I have my perspective is that when you say that, you just said, well, if they really wanted it, they should have gotten it in the first place. So I constantly discover records. Like I'm really into new releases as well. Like that's what I spend a lot of time like investigating, trying to find new stuff that is really challenging, pushing,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And which means that sometimes like most new records have a pressing of between like new artists, new records between 300 and 500 copies, most of them,
Mhm.
which means that often before it enters a distribution circuit that reaches you, sometimes it's like 2 years after the record was released.
Mhm.
Even if you're really onto things, and you know me, like I'm really onto it. I spend hours every day only listening and looking for new stuff that might be
Yeah.
interesting. But sometimes it takes like a year, 2 years to get that. And then I think that's maybe when the flippers, the scalpers, the sharks might have a use for me. Because if it's a record that I discovered 2 years after the fact, and I really, really want it,
Mhm.
and there are people who have bought it not for them, not to keep it for themselves like I do, but to flip. Well, they offer me a chance 2 years later on Discogs, maybe at an inflated price, but if it's not completely crazy, well, in that gives me like a second chance to get a record. So in that regard, I'm okay with that.
That's fair, but what happens when, say, if it's an album that's not in print, then it goes on to Discogs? Because I've done this too, and I've spent the money. If it's something I really, really want, well, I'm going to spend the money, and because I want it that bad. But, however, if it's an album that's in print and somebody like say, I'm just going to give it like a very very sorrowful example, but say Rolling Stones, the new one, I can't remember what it's called, Diamonds or something, whatever. So there's like 30 variants of that album, right? Now that's in print. So if somebody goes to the local Walmart and starts flipping them, and then say they're in a very very small town, and some people want it, well, that guy has like taken all their stock. I'm almost kind of answering my own question because I'm thinking to myself, well, if it sells out through Walmart, they're just going to get them right back in if they can, so they can do it again. But I just think to myself, is that ethical to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do that.
You're talking about Walmart, which is interesting. Brian from the channel and Brian Robot is in Toronto, and he can find some vinyl records in his Walmart. I have a Walmart very close to the place where I live. They don't sell. They stop. They sell a few CDs and a few DVD. And I can blame him for living in Toronto and me in Montreal. And if I really want a record, and if I just give me chance to find this record. We have a nice community of people, and I think we should put more emphasis of being nice to each other.
Oh yeah.
Less drama.
Yes.
And use this community as itself.
Yeah.
Only few people ask me since I started channel to be like a local representative, to be on the lookout for albums they would love to buy, but they are in Germany, they are in France, they don't have the same chance as I. And then they say, if I find a records I would like to buy in Germany, they can, And this is how this community this is what a community is all about, in my opinion.
Me too.
The most important thing of records for me is the hunt. Always. The hunt.
Yeah.
I do this since 45 years. I went to markets everywhere. It's the hunt. It's something in your mind. And if I didn't buy for 3 days records, it's like it feels not good. It feels ill. So I have to go out, look for records or CDs or memorabilia of that's my life.
But are you content with what you find, or other?
Always. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's
So
okay.
you don't, like, there's no records that that you will not be. It's unlikely you will find them in the wild.
No, when I buy a collection of 200-300, sometimes I throw away 250. I keep 50, because if you keep everything, you get loaded. Get rid of the wrong stuff.
But are there records that you personally are looking for yourself that you would go crazy for?
Crazy. Yeah. No.
It's like a drug dealer getting high on your own supply. It's the best way to get you out of the business.
I like covers. I'm crazy about covers. That's why also the Twin Towers. And there is an album of Elkie Brooks. She is sitting on the floor with a telephone, and the whole album is white. The letters are red. I collect that album. I have now around 80, but I need 120, because then I have a total wall in Barcelona. So all the time I collect one album.
But it seems to me that you have a very different relation. No, not taste necessarily. Like, for example, it seems to me that the hierarchy that you have between records is within what you have and what you get. For me, my hierarchy is in music history. It's both in what I have and what I don't have yet. So it creates a problem for me, because it creates needs. It creates like me obsessing about something I don't have. You seem to be content to build your hierarchy within the spectrum of what you already have or what you get,
Yeah,
which is probably easier.
I have so many records, so many. So, yeah, it cost me also a lot of money, but yeah, what shall I say? Look, when I find 1 week no records, no problem. I'll find them the next week, and in some way, I'm very lucky in that. And in Holland, when people find a record store in my part of the country, and they want to look for a record store, they always find me as number one. But I buy everything. I buy the old ones, Bakelit. I buy the 45s, the LPs, the CDs. I buy everything. And when I don't like, I throw it away. I bring it to a
charity shop or something.
a charity shop,
thrift
for
store.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A question for you, Rolf.
Yeah,
If you may remember the very first vinyl record you have
Yeah.
bought in.
I think it must be Rod Stewart or Donna Summer.
Okay,
One of
So
the two.
something very local, right?
Yeah, local. Yeah.
Ramon,
Uh,
can I ask you? I want to ask you something you alluded to earlier about the what the vinyl community means to you. What's his name? Chance from the Concert Buddy.
Yeah.
Every time he interviews somebody, to me, it's like it's a really, really great question. And he says, whether it's Rob the Wax or whoever it is that he's interviewed, he always says, "What does the vinyl community mean to you?" And when you said it involuntarily, like the way you did it, I was thinking to myself, yeah, see, this is the way it happened when I was on Sarah's stream not too long ago, like I don't know, a week ago or whatever it was, and I just started spewing off, and like I normally do, but it's really, really funny, I always think to myself, I always want to get inspired, and what I did was I mentioned well, it's okay if I mention the names. It's not a problem. God, I mentioned Davy Strange name and I mentioned Nathaniel Mars. But when you go into a certain show and you mention those names, you get knocked for them. And I think to myself, well, yeah, but those are the two guys that just inspired me to go out and spend my hard-earned money on albums that I would never even really think of. I just like, wow, that's great. So to me, that's how the vinyl community should represent itself. It shouldn't really represent the sort of bashing of personalities and stuff like, okay, fine, you can make little jokes. I mean, God, Stunty's like the king of that, like on this panel. But he means, like, I know he means it in such a good heart. Like I always know he's fooling around. But
Darrin, one thing.
But when what happens is that when I feel that I've been inspired to go out and run out and buy, say, 6 albums from certain individuals, and then I tell myself that, yeah, shout out to so and so for helping me to do that. And then I have to worry and think, oh, Jesus Christ, like, I hope I'm not going to get bashed for that, because this has happened in the past with
Darrin,
me before.
we get it. The thing is that right now we have Rolf here who is sharing his experiences and his knowledge and all that. Like, it's not really like about like grievances with the vinyl community right now.
Yeah.
No. I was going off on what I was going off.
You're a bit monologuing about it right now.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I was going off on what Ramon said earlier about the vinyl community. That's all.
We talk about vinyl community because it's a VC related channel, and prior being on air with Rolf, I explained to him what is the vinyl community, because as so many record store, he has no idea. You know,
Mm.
that's I'm sure your local record store doesn't watch YouTube videos, and I recently made videos about record store in Montreal or in UK, and they don't care. You know, they sell their stuff, and they won't be watching Rachel every morning, or you know.
Well, I didn't mention any names.
Yeah, yeah. No, I really like Rachel, by the way,
I do too.
and it's
She's great.
fine. But you know, it's a show which is
But let's
every day.
talk about stuff that Rolf understands rather than be
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about all this stuff that
yeah,
is like
yeah.
really
Sure,
not
sure. Yeah,
important in the grand scheme of things.
yeah. Raul sent asked a very interesting question. Raul is a good friend of mine. He's not a record collector, so his question is, what is the most expensive vinyl record? Um,
Me at the moment, for
Did you
us,
ever like you ever for me for you would be interesting to yeah the one you sold, the
and
most ever,
Tarkus.
that Tarkus, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Tarkus.
Peruvian prog band from the
Yeah,
70s, very rare.
garage rock, garage punk.
Okay.
And when you hear it, you say, "Wow, I must have it."
I want it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a guy in the shop. I put it on, and he was from Germany, and he said at once, "Hey, what is that? I want it straight away. Just maybe 20
Yeah.
seconds. You
It's the
already
ear.
knew.
Yeah, yeah.
That's in your mind. That is, it's yeah,
You know, I was telling a friend recently, like we were talking about, he was telling me about his assessment of the latest Den Bosch from last week.
yeah,
And he was kind of disappointed by it, or actually quite disappointed by it, and telling me that like it was a little bit, he didn't find that, I mean, he was not happy with what he saw, with the quality of the condition, etc. And I was telling him that right now, because it comes and goes, right now I'm really happy with the records I've been getting in the past 2 months or so, because I'm getting records. I mean, for example, there's a record a lot of people are trying to help me find and get.
mhm,
It's a record that a lot of people know about. It's not a famous record, but for diggers, it's like a, it's a grail or whatever.
yeah,
But what's more interesting to me is when I get these records that are kind of like really cool, but they are still obscure enough that I know no one who's looking for them actively. And when Rolf is talking about the hunt, there are different ways to hunt. Obviously, there's like the old-fashioned way to go out, because like I was also born and digging before there was the internet. Now
yeah,
there is the internet, and either it's competition or it's help. For me, I decided it to be a positive for me, and it is, because the stuff I'm looking for, I won't find it by luck anymore. Like if I look for 1,000 records and I go every weekend on the flea markets and all that, like maybe after 10 years I'll have found like 15 of them.
yeah,
But
Mm.
with the internet, if I don't get 85 of them in 10 years, that means I didn't really want them. If
yeah.
I'm really like
Actually,
obsessive about it.
you
So
don't.
what's your grail, Stunty?
Well, it always like, I mean, I kind of have a list of records that I actively seek out in any possible fashion I can find, real
Keep it
life,
short.
friends, internet, etc. And it's about 60 records that I
No.
several times a day I do something to find them. And whenever I manage to get one, I allow myself to put another one in the list,
Mm.
so that it's always like it's not like I have like a number one thing above everything. I kind of have, but then like that's not really interesting. It's like, what is the most expensive vinyl record? Like the other day, Discogs say like they sold a 7-inch promo of a Velvet Underground record,
Mm.
7-inch promo for $30,000 or euros, and that's the most record ever sold on Discogs for.
Now, I'm not educated, but I'm going to
That,
say,
what I mean is that really means nothing, because, as Rolf was saying, if you find something really unique that
to
is
yourself, yes.
really obscure, like they did only 50 copies, so there's no one knows about it, but he has it.
Mm,
To a collector who has good ears and good pockets, and who will hear it and will, okay, I need this. Then it could be €5 or 10,000. It's the same, because the rarity of the record, how special it is, it's just
yeah.
the business of Rolf and his buyer. That's for
Yeah,
them.
that's the same what happened to the black sugar. I brought the black sugars to Europe, and people bought it, and they made reissues of that, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But I didn't mind.
Excuse me.
I'm an original guy. So, but buying up to certain records in bulk and flipping to yeah, that's your life, eh? So buying tickets and selling them.
Like, it's just a problem of like trying to mix morality and business. It's easy to do that when you're standing on the side,
Yeah,
but
when you're
when you,
part of it, when you're part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it becomes a
Yeah.
little bit different.
Hey, I have to get up early tomorrow.
Yep.
We're busy now, 2 hours.
Yeah, I think we can wrapping up. Unless someone has another question, we will be wrapping up in the next maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much, Rolf. It's been a real
Yeah.
pleasure. Hope you liked the
Yeah, very
experience
much.
of sharing. Yeah, with people. As you know, a lot of people came to ask questions. Record collector, and so I will put the link or uh, not the email address, of course, but the website of your store in Netherlands. Can we sell? Can we buy records from your? Do you have a Discogs page, or you sell
Yes,
online? Do you? Yeah.
yeah, my son has, but I will send you that by the app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you like it.
Yes. And say
And
hi to Pierre-Emmanuel.
Pierre-Emmanuel, yeah, and everyone will just stop by. Thank you guys. Stay
Okay.
tuned.
Bye
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
A pleasure.
bye. Thank you very much.